बहुतों के नंबर मैंने सेव किए हैं एक अलग लिस्ट में जिनको कॉल करना बाकी है, बट जिस किस्म का इंसान मैं हूँ मैं शायद वो कॉल कभी नहीं करूँ। अपने आप में ही घुटते रहता हूँ कि ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं, यानी मैं ऐसा हूँ नहीं, कम से कम एक तमीज़ तो होनी चाहिए कि अगर कुछ भी है, basic ethics, and basic humanity level. You can't forget that. बहुतों के साथ हिसाब बराबर ज़रूर करना है और करूँगा, क्योंकि जब तक मैं अपने दिमाग में वो रखूँगा, I'll work hard towards achieving my goal. But बदतमीज़ी के रूप से नहीं, arrogance के रूप से नहीं, सिर्फ अपने आप को मोटिवेट करने के रूप से कि मैं कर सकता हूँ जी, आप अंडर एस्टिमेट मत कीजिए। We don't know where we land now. The unfortunate thing is that by the time the theaters kind of settled and we felt that maybe okay, there's a calling on the OTT space for us as well, the demand for stars started happening there too.
There you go. Yep.
So now there are many actors who are in transition.
Oh my goodness, the dynamics.
The dynamics have really moved. That ना थिएटर बचा है,
ना ये
और ना OTT. तो ये बीच का रास्ता जो है बड़ा खतरनाक है कि हम जाएं तो कहाँ जाएं. My personal journey has been nothing but a struggle. So somehow I don't like that word nepotism because it never benefited me.
Correct.
And I know so many like me who it's not benefited. If you have it in you, you'll sustain it. You'll make it. If you don't, no matter how many ever chances you get, you won't.
But what about that first foot in the door?
See, first foot in the door is like me saying कि okay यार ये बंदा इसका बाप एक बहुत बड़ा बिजनेसमैन है और ऑब्वियस जाहिर सी बात है भाई, अपने वो बेटे को ही तो देगा ना मौका, तो वाई ग्रज इट. हमें एक फ़ोटो लेके घूमना पड़ता था हर ऑफिस में कि सर ये मैं ऐसा दिखता हूँ, मेरी आप फ़ोटो रखिएगा, अगर आप कुछ कर रहे हैं प्लीज़ ध्यान में रखिए. सर नमस्ते, मैं 1 महीने पहले वापस आया था, ये मेरी एक और तस्वीर है. I mean, मैं क्या
had it easy, right?
It wasn't easy. You really had to work. It wasn't like you're going to land your next role because you're Mukesh's grandson or Nitin Mukesh's son. Yes, people would give you a listen, meet you, but work, I think work you would get only if you had it in you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the FPJ. It's been a while. Last I visited at your place when it was during Ganpati. Yeah.
Ganpati is celebrated on a very big scale in the Mukesh home.
Yes.
And home is always open and we welcome all our
thank you so much
family.
for calling me last night to keep, in order to keep this color coordinated.
I like that. But then again, aren't you a 15th January born?
Oh, there you go. Huh? Belated happy birthday.
Thank you to you too, my friend.
Congratulations on turning 28.
Yeah, I know. You turned what, 27?
32 actually.
You're 1 year younger than me.
Yeah, I'm elder actually.
You're older
look
than
at his skin.
32.
But good to see you in this shape, fit and fine.
Thanks.
Touch wood. What is the nuskha? I asked you behind the camera, you refused to answer. Perhaps you were busy sipping on water.
I think simplicity is the key, and just be happy. I think, in the rigmarole of trying to do many things in life, we forget the simplicity of and the beauty of life, and the sheer joy of happiness. So, of course, there's a regime that I follow. I don't drink, I don't smoke, never done any form of drug ever. Very conscious of what I eat, what I put in my tummy, my gut routine, my probiotics, etc., my general health care, walks, eating in time, small meals, multiple things. So,
multiple right things.
Multiple right things maybe, but I think that's important for, lifestyle is just important, especially after you're 40. I'm 43, so
28 is a new 40? That's Hisab Barabar, quite a quirky title. The trailer is engaging, interesting. When did you last time, call up someone and say, now hisab barabar? Perhaps that individual might have undermined you, your potential, and then you had to give it back in the right sense of the word. And you said, now hisab barabar.
सर बहुतों के नंबर मैंने सेव किए हैं एक अलग लिस्ट में जिनको कॉल करना बाकी है, बट जिस किस्म का इंसान मैं हूँ मैं शायद वो कॉल कभी नहीं करूँ. अपने आप में ही घुटते रहता हूँ कि ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं. यानी मैं ऐसा हूँ नहीं. कम से कम एक तमीज़ तो होनी चाहिए कि अगर कुछ भी है, basic ethics, and basic humanity level. You can't forget that.
Yeah.
So मुझे तो कोई भी अगर कुछ बोले मैं कम से कम एक रिप्लाई करके बोल तो देता हूँ कि हाँ ना क्या. बट आई थिंक आजकल फैशन हो गया है, तो बहुतों के साथ हिसाब बराबर ज़रूर करना है और करूँगा, क्योंकि जब तक मैं अपने दिमाग में वो रखूँगा आई विल वर्क हार्ड टूवर्ड्स अचीविंग माई गोल. बट बदतमीजी के रूप से नहीं, एरोगेंस के रूप से नहीं, सिर्फ अपने आप को मोटिवेट करने के रूप से कि मैं कर सकता हूँ जी. आप अंडर एस्टिमेट मत कीजिए.
नाइस. एज दे से इन स्पोर्ट्स, एज दे से मोर सो इन क्रिकेट, let your bat do the talking.
Let the bat do the talking.
Yeah. And this one is looking really hatke.
Thank you.
I must say that.
Hisab Barabar title was very attractive. The first time I heard the title is when I was like, wow, okay, I want to read this film, I want to hear the film. If you allow me, I'll just tell you a few anecdotes of how I landed the role. Firstly, most often, in a certain career, you don't get, films like this very easily, because it's a common man's journey and his story fighting a certain system. So, with at least with my kind of looks and with my kind of demeanor and what people perceive of me and how I am portrayed on screen most of the times, are slightly larger than life, slightly more histrionics, etc. All of that, and maybe that's my USP also. But at the same time, as an actor, I wanted to be a part of some very relatable and important films with an important message, like how New York was.
Correct.
New York was an important film, but it was done very correctly, so the message sent across was nice. Indu Sarkar again was an important film for me.
There you go.
Jail was an important film for me, with a deeper meaning to.
And of course, Johnny Gaddar is cult.
Johnny Gaddar was a cult, but it was a fictional and fictitious film completely. I'm talking about something with a common man's point of view and storytelling to that point. Kathi in the South was again, one of those kinds. So I've been lucky that I've landed these kind of roles, but it's been a very conscious effort of trying to hunt them down and convince my filmmakers that I can be a part of it. When Hisab Barabar happened, Sharad Patel is a very dear friend. He's like a brother to me, and I knew him. We were supposed to work on something, and it didn't happen. But he came back to me with the film, and he said that Ashwani sir has you in mind for a character. Of course, I had not done a film for a year or two, and I was in the hunt of the next, and I had been saying no to a lot of work because there was a certain kind of film that I might have wanted to come back with and maybe do as my next. But none of the stories or the setups or something or the other never aligned. With Hisab Barabar, everything kind of checked the boxes very nicely. Great producers, great platform, great studio, brilliant actors, R. Madhavan, Kirti Koladi, Rashmi Desai, multiple star cast, some fantastic actors, Ashwani Dheer sir, stalwart writer, fantastic filmmaker. Who doesn't want to be a part of that kind of storytelling?
Correct.
And then, of course, like I had mentioned earlier and I didn't complete that, was a common man's story with a much bigger, message being told in a very nice and comic, satirish,
very slice of life.
Slice of life day-to-day, very relatable way. And of course, then the character of Mickey Mehta, which is written so deliciously, it's so layered that though I've played antagonist earlier in my life, in my career, in the past, this time it was very different again, because there was a sprinkle of comedy, there was a sprinkle of self-belief of the wrongs that he's doing. He actually believed that he's right about it. And of course, like I mentioned, that I just wanted to be, as an actor, be a part of an important.
Then why don't we see you do more work and more often? That's a constant, that's a complaint, and it comes from the right space.
No, I'm sure, a lot of my fans complain about it. It's not a conscious effort that I'm staying away. I hope my filmmaker friends and my casting director friends out there also this message reaches to them, not as a complaint, but as a request that consider me for good stuff. Like challenging stuff, interesting stuff. I'm an actor. I've done over a dozen films with national award winning filmmakers. I've done 30 odd plus films in my career so far, in pretty much in all regional languages as well, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, and some really big films. But my hunt has always been for a good film and a good subject.
True.
So it's not like I don't get offers. I get umpteen amount of offers, but most of the time I catch myself saying no to it, because I can't cheat not my audience nor myself. It's not always about the money. Of course, money is very important. I have to survive. I have a child. I have to look after my home. I have to run the family.
6, 7?
She's 6.
She's 6.
So I have all these responsibilities on my head. I have a life that I have to move forward with, and survive in. But at the same time, I also want to be very true to my craft. Something that I started at a very young age of 4.
True.
So a man who spent his entire life, forget a part of it, my entire life has been dedicated.
Work with all mega stars already, yeah?
All of them.
Yeah.
You
just name them and they're there.
I mean, from the yesteryears to now.
Correct.
So while I've done that, how much do I need to constantly keep proving myself? How much do I need to keep constantly requesting you for keeping me in your mind, and how much do I have to work towards being relatable to, and and be a constant with. Sometimes I don't know. I mean, there are some films that I see and I say, I should have been a part of this film.
Films such as?
There are multiple. I won't take names. I don't want to put anyone on a spot. Some of them are friends. Some of them I've worked with in the past. But the process has changed. It's changed a lot, and I'm trying to adapt.
How so? What has changed?
Back in the days, we never had casting directors. We had a direct approach to actors. No complaint, casting directors are fantastic. It's the need of the hour. Most of them are very dear friends. I consider them brothers and sisters. My sister is one of the leading casting directors of the country, Shanu Sharma.
Yes.
So my respect for them is there. But most of the time I've seen and I've realized that it's not their fault. You are supposed to reach out to them as well, because they also need to remember your existence.
Correct.
Which I don't shy away from. So I do that on a very regular basis. I will.
Is there a process therefore to it, Neil?
No, I don't know. The process used to be very simple earlier. Right now, it's you'll probably meet the casting director, but eventually it's the filmmakers who need to also keep you in mind and write and be reminded. But now they are dependent on casting directors.
You have
also
a body of work.
Exactly.
You have seen the characters as well as the range of it.
Right.
What makes it difficult now?
I wish I could answer that. It would probably become easier. I think visibility, maybe. But, it's not like I'm not visible. I'm very active on social media. I trend very often. So it's not like people don't know my existence. It's just visibility, maybe in terms of what's his next work. I think people are very insecure. Filmmakers today are going through an era of, being very insecure, because even they have a lot of pressure on them that, please cast somebody who might get you the box office numbers. And it's the business of cinema has changed a lot. So I don't take it personally. Of course, you need a big star to be cast in a big film for you to be able to get that kind of audience into a theatre. The theatre business has really taken a massive hit post-COVID. So it's not for me to take personally. Many actors have been subjected to a certain unfortunate, situation because of this. But at the same time, when it comes to the OTT platform, initially I thought that this is now one space where actors like me should fly.
And flourish.
And probably flourish, but fly for sure, because with the kind of work that I have done and the kind of stuff that is being made on OTT, I should be an instant pick. But it's been a difficult journey there. Of course, I'm doing my first show now, and I'm hoping that changes, the equation. And I have been offered shows early in the past. It's not like I haven't, but they didn't culminate for many factors. A, the quality, B, the kind of character that they probably had thought of me, etc. So for many reasons, I have been saying no to stuff, but I'm glad in a way, because if I didn't
You
say...
still have to knock on the doors, do you?
Yes, of course. Yes, after every film, after every release, I still make the effort. Because I think it's, like I said earlier, I don't take it personally. I think it's very important for you to just kind of remind yourself, and of course the others, that you exist. Of course, you also have to understand that the era of filmmaking right now has changed. The kind of films that are being churned out right now are very earthy in their nature. Very rooted. So somewhere you have to also convince your filmmakers and your people that हाँ यार ये बंदा कर सकता है ना, अगर ये बंदा सात खून माफ कर सकता है, ये बंदा अगर वजीर कर सकता है, अगर ये बंदा इंदू सरकार जेल कर सकता है, लफंगे परिंदे कर सकता है, जॉनी गद्दार कर सकता है, न्यूयॉर्क कर सकता है, तो फिर हाँ ये कर सकता है. यानी मैंने तो ऐसी कुछ आध फिल्मों के नाम लिए हैं, ऐसी बहुत सारी फिल्में हैं. तो बट हमारी याददाश्त इतनी तेज़ नहीं है. आज आपने जो फिल्म फ्राइडे को सोची है और सुनी और देखी है, हाँ यार ये फिल्म रिलीज़ हो रही है, आप वो उसे याद रखोगे, है ना. तो शायद इस फ्राइडे के बाद शायद लोगों के जहन में वापस आ जाऊं, उनके दिमाग में वापस आ जाऊं, शायद कुछ आध फिल्म मेकर्स वापस आ जाएं जो कहें कि तथास्तु. और बस ऊपर वाले का शुक्राना है, ऊपर वाले से मैं बस यही थैंक यू कहते रहता हूँ कि मौके तो हैं. इस साल काफ़ी आप देखने मिलेगा.
As a fan as well.
हाँ जी, थैंक यू. हिसाब बराबर के बाद मेरी पहली वेब शो आ रही है जैकलीन फर्नांडिस जी के साथ. अगेन बड़े अच्छे डायरेक्टर अभिषेक शर्मा जी के निर्देशक में मेरा पहला शो है. वापस एक अच्छे पैमाने पे वो शो बना है, तो उम्मीद कर रहा हूँ कि वो भी एक ऑडियंस तक कनेक्ट कर पाए.
Therefore, what have you discovered, given this large body of work? These shades of character, the spectrum itself is very huge. Different subjects, different variety, versatility is absolutely obvious. What have you discovered therefore about yourself as a performer, vis-a-vis how the industry is now operating? Are you certain about certain things that you know for sure?
No, I definitely know. See, I've been someone who's been there from a very young age. I've seen the transition happening, and I've somehow been able to, adapt. I've come from the reel era to a digital era. I've come from the single screen era to multiplexes, from multiplexes to now the OTT space. Yeah. So I've been able to adapt very carefully, very strategically. Like I said, my industry is my industry. I love, and my respect for them is insane. I don't hold any grudges against anybody. I consider them as one big family. अगर मुझे पता पड़े कि ये भाई ये एक एक्टर है, इंस्टेंटली मुझे लगने लगेगा कि ये भाई ये मेरा ही है, ये कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर है, भाई मेरा हक बनता है कि मैं आपके पास आऊँ, है ना. तो मैं ऐसा हूँ. हर कोई ऐसा नहीं सोचता, हर कोई ऐसे उससे नहीं गुजरता, बट मेरी सोच है वैसी, और इसी उम्मीद से जीता हूँ कि शायद इससे कुछ अच्छा ही हो, इससे कुछ अच्छा ही निकले. The big changes, of course, have happened right after COVID. You know, after theaters took a certain beating, the kind of perception of what happened with Hindi films, you know, not many films were doing well. So not just us. It's like a little vicious circle and a domino effect, right?
Domino effect.
Yeah. So you know, if the top is affected, it will
the whole
sprinkle
cascading,
down. It will crumble down, you know.
Yeah.
So if your producers are not being able to churn their money out of the films that they used to make, now they are only dependent on those probably crowd pulling big setups and big films, thinking that only those kind of films are sustaining and working. But then you also have a 12th fail that comes in and does brilliantly, because there's a filmmaker and a you know, producer who believed in himself and his storytelling. Vidhu Vinod Chopra.
Absolutely.
You know? So I a lot of kudos to him that he banked a great amount of money and a lot of power over, you know, Vikrant Massey. Again, fantastic actor, big fan. You know, but who's still not your top 50 crore rupee star.
Grosser, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So while that is happening, yes, it has jolted many of us, because we don't know where we land now. You know, the unfortunate thing is that by the time the theaters kind of settled and we felt that maybe, okay, there's a calling on the OTT space for us as well, the demand for stars started happening there too.
There you go. Yep.
So now there are many actors who are in transition.
Oh my goodness, the dynamics.
The dynamics have really moved. That ना थिएटर बचा है
ना ये
और ना OTT.
हाँ.
तो ये बीच का रास्ता जो है बड़ा खतरनाक है कि हम जाएं तो कहाँ जाएं, है ना? तो
allow me to frame this question. I'll take some time on this.
बिल्कुल,
the kind of legacy you hold, the kind of background that you come from, the family you come from, singers, then you actor, you have a casting director in your house. How does then justify the definition or the so-called definition of nepotism?
Well, see, unfortunately, you know, like I have this constant debate about this word, because though I have so much going for me, my personal journey has been nothing but a struggle, you know. So somehow I don't like that word nepotism, because it never benefited me.
Correct.
You know, and I know so many like me who it's not benefited. If you have it in you, you'll sustain
make it. Yeah.
You'll make it. If you don't, no matter how many ever chances you get, you won't.
But what about that first foot in the door?
See, first foot in the door is like me saying कि okay यार ये बंदा you know इसका बाप एक बहुत बड़ा बिजनेसमैन है, और obvious जाहिर सी बात है भाई, अपने वो बेटे को ही तो देगा ना मौका, तो why grudge it, है ना? Of course, but at least we came from an era where I had to go knocking on every door to every producer and make them believe कि हाँ यार एक सिंगर का पोता, एक सिंगर का बेटा बतौर एक एक्टर के रूप से आ सकता है. उस समय ना सोशल मीडिया थे, उस समय ना मैं अपने रील्स डाल सकता, ना मैं अपने पोर्टफोलियोज के शॉट्स डाल सकता, ना डीएम में कोई मैसेजेस आ सकते आराम से. यू वोंट बी एबल टू रीच मी ऑल्सो, यू नो. ये सारी चीज़ें थी ही नहीं, तो हमें एक फ़ोटो लेके घूमना पड़ता था हर ऑफिस में कि सर ये मैं ऐसा दिखता हूँ, मेरी आप फ़ोटो रखिएगा, अगर आप कुछ कर रहे हैं प्लीज़ ध्यान में रखिए. सर नमस्ते, मैं 1 महीने पहले वापस आया था, ये मेरी एक और तस्वीर है. You know, I mean,
Never had it easy, right?
It wasn't easy. You really had to work. it wasn't like you're going to land your next role because you're Mukesh's grandson or Nitin Mukesh's son. Yes, people would, give you a listen, meet you, but work, I think work you would get only if you had it in you.
Yeah.
And I think it still exists in that matter. But now, at least you have platforms to showcase your talent, and seeing that talent, it's easier now. So you put that effort into it, you put that heart into it, and you see the way you can fly. I think, I wish I was, many of my films released in this era. It would be a different dynamic altogether. Johnny Gaddar came today. New York came today. Wow. In the
way
in the
ahead
digital,
of their times.
Yeah, with the digital era and with the way it's now on being showcased on platforms. if Lafange Parinde came today, if Aadhe Ki Zara came today, it would be a completely different ball game. Yeah.
Allow me to conclude with this one. Given your physicality, the way you look, may come across as a person who is like, who wants things to be done in a certain way. Perhaps come as a person who needs all those strictures and measures correctly placed. But you're a different soul altogether, as opposed to the image images rather that you have been projecting. What transition, what evolution we see in terms of physicality therefore, as well as your approach towards the craft. How relatable are you going to be with the positive you have, as well as perhaps the limitations you have?
I make a very conscious effort of doing something that's out of my comfort zone. I've been like that from the start. I had the opportunity of either doing a love story or a thriller, and I chose to do Johnny Gaddar as the film. Only why? Because I thought it's important for me to challenge myself and be true to my craft. So that process and that thought remains till date. I don't want to change that for nothing.
Yeah.
My process has always been, how can I sharpen my axe? We are after all human beings. So अगर मुझे एक फिल्म के लिए ट्रांसफॉर्म करना है, जैसे मैंने बाईपास रोड अगर की थी, उसके पहले साहो की है. Saho, I needed to be buffed because there's Prabhas right after Bahubali. He's a big guy, and I have to be a cop right in front of him, and that too playing an undercover cop, so who's presumed to be Saho, and there's a role exchange of characters. So I had to play both dynamics of that mega blockbuster big film, and still connect with an audience, and then suddenly change from there within a month to playing a paraplegic on a wheelchair. I couldn't do that, so I had to gain weight. So instead of losing weight, I gained weight to make it look like that he's sluggish, and that maybe this accident has put him in a certain spot. Now, after that, COVID happened, and I didn't have an incentive, and I didn't have another film in hand for me to really transform. But because COVID happened, I took that time of doing nothing to really transform myself back. So from 87 kgs, I went back to 58.
What are you saying?
Yes, and then from 58, I grew into about a 61, 62 during Hisab Barabar. Right now, I'm at 65, 66 kgs, because I've just finished another film which needed me to up my weight a little. I finished my web show. So I wanted to do that, and this is my weight that was there during Johnny Gaddar. Same weight. So I'm back to what I was at Johnny. And, so I guess
20 years later?
20 years later.
Oh,
yeah.
2 decades later.
Yeah. So I'm fitting into clothes which I have since then. There are sometimes your favorite denim that you don't want to. So I try and get back, and it's fitting. So that's one thing, one aspect of it, and the other thing is to mentally keep yourself very healthy and positive and hopeful, because I think that is most important for any actor, to be positive and patient at the same time, saying कि हाँ यार आने वाला है कुछ, तैयार हो जा और तैयार रहे. तो मैं अपने आप को हमेशा तैयार रखता हूँ कि अब शायद मौका मिले. यू कांट से सर अभी रुक जाइए, मुझे 1-2-3 महीने का ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के लिए एक समय
yeah.
दीजिए. नहीं, आपने कहा मैं तैयार हो गया.
On the go.
On the go.
And you're going to delight the audience with your performances, as you always do, as indeed in Hisab Barabar. And you'll get multiple chances, to call up those people and say, hey, Hisab Barabar.
I just hope and pray that, the viewers who have been patiently waiting for my film, they lap it on. And on 24th January onwards on Z5, when they see Hisab Barabar, they say, ab hua Neil ka Hisab Barabar. Yeah.
Good one. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.